Morning Year 5 and welcome to Maths. So today let's start with our fast 5. So if you could pause the screen, grab a scrap of paper and answer these 5 questions, and then when you press play we will go through the answers. Okay, so we're first of all looking at a number bond to 100. So it needs to go 64 add something equals 100. Using my bonds, I know that they're going to have to be a 6 in the ones column, which would take me to 70. And I know from 70 to 100 is 30. So 64 add 36 is 100. 3 multiples of 15. Multiples are in the times tables of 15. So I can start with 15. 15 add 15 is 30. If I keep adding 15, I'd get 45, and finally 60. I guess that's 4 multiples really, but you could have chosen those next 3. Okay, a nice simple adding. Let me use my squares up here. So let me do my biggest number at the top. It's just better for my layout. It does not matter which order you've added them, as long as you've got them in their correct place value columns. Okay, so 3 add 7 is 10. I'm regrouping. 8 add the 4 add the 1 is 13. Regroup. 9 add the 1 add the 8 is 18. And then 1 add the 2 is 3. 3,830. Okay, revision from yesterday. 1 and 2/5 as a top-heavy fraction. So I do whole number times denominator. 1 times the 5 is 5, add the 2 is 7, and I leave the denominator the same. Okay, and lastly, we have long multiplication. I'm just going to get myself some space again. So 100, I'm going to squeeze it up here, 134 times 21. I need my double line and then my single line, and I'll put my placeholder in. 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2. And I add going vertically down. 8 add 3 is 11. 6, 1 and 1 is 8. And 2. So 2,814. Okay, we are going to use today to revise adding and subtracting fractions with the same denominator. You did this in year 3 and year 4, but it's an important skill to make sure we've really understood adding and subtracting fractions before we move on to the year 5 skill when we return to school. So 3/7 add 2/7. It's not as tricky as sometimes it looks, because when we're thinking about adding denominators that have the same, adding fractions with the same denominators, the good thing is the denominator never changes. You do not do 7 add 7. It stays in 7ths, because all this means is we have 3/7. If I draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It means I've got 2 of the 7ths, add 3 of the 7ths. So altogether, we have 5/7. The same as subtracting. If the denominators are the same, it stays the same in the answer, and all we are looking at is the numerator. 10 take away 5 is 5. 5/12. Okay, let's look at a couple different ones. So for this one, just as I've done, the denominator does not change, and I just add the numerators. This has ended up top heavy, an improper fraction. That is absolutely fine. You actually don't need to do anything with it. I'm quite happy for you to have that as an answer. This one's slightly harder perhaps. 1 whole, take away 2/5. There's a few ways to do this. You could draw yourself a diagram. So here is 1 whole, and I know I'm counting in fifths because it says that in the next number. So if I took away 2/5, if I got rid of that one and I got rid of that one, I would be left with 3/5. The other thing you could do is rewrite the whole as fifths. 5/5 take away 2/5 equals 3/5. This time I've got a balanced equation. This side needs to equal this side. So let's do the left-hand side first. 9/5 take away 5/5. So 9 take away 5 is 4, and the fifths do not change. So 4/5 has got to balance to this side. And I've started with 6/5 take away something. And I know I need to get balanced with 4/5. So I would just take away 2 more fifths. And now these two equations are balanced. Right, let's give you a go now. So pause the screen. Let's do this top question first. So pause the screen here and have a go on a bit of paper, and then I'm going to go through. Okay, so we've got a bar model showing us 3/5 add 4/5. So if I'm counting my fifths all together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fifths. And they have then converted that into mixed number, which you can do or you do not need to. The answers down here should be 6/8. You only add the numerators. 6/6, or you could have written 1 whole. And 10/3, or you could have written 3 1/3. Pause again on this one. This is a balancing equation one. So this side has got to be balanced equal to this side. Pause the screen and have a go. Okay, 11/3 take away 4/3. This side would be 7/3, which means this side also needs to equal 7/3. So I would add the 5 to the 2, leaving it over 3. And now these are balanced. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. Now these are for you to do independently. I'm not going to talk through them. 3 questions for you to do. Off you go. Pause the screen. Okay, the answers are this side would be equal to 4/5, so this side would need to subtract the 2/5. 1 whole is 9/9, and if I take away 7/9, I'd be left with 2/9. And 4 add 6 is 10, and I leave that over 7s. Okay, guys, I think you're ready to have a go. So you've got 3 choices, and you can pause your screen on each of these, depending on which ones you feel more comfortable with. So if you're still practicing your adding and taking away with the same denominators, here's questions 1 to 3 to pause on. You can do these on paper, and I'll show you question 4 in a moment. Question 4 is down here. If you would like the middle challenge, let me zoom in a little bit. You're doing these first 3 questions. Pause the screen. And there's your bottom question. Pause the screen. And if you're ready for the harder challenge, here's your first 3 questions. And your bottom question. Okay, hopefully you've had a go at those, and I'm going to go through the answers. So I will zoom in slightly. This was the first screen I was showing here, questions 1 to 4. This was the second, and this was the last screen. So pause there to mark your work. Well done, guys. These are all skills you're going to need when you come back to school and we do some adding and subtracting with different denominators. Well done, guys.